Hi everybody! Today we're going to be scientists and do a sink or float experiment. So first you're going to need to find some different objects in your house that you think might sink or float, and you're going to find out. You're going to need a bucket of water, and I decided to use 2 bowls so that I could put my sink items in one and my float items in the other. And I also made a chart of my different objects. So I drew a picture and I wrote down what my different objects are, and then I made a column for sink and a column for float. And when I find out if they sink or float, I'm going to mark that in the columns. If you want, you can make your own chart. You can either write down the word if you're working on your writing, or you can draw a picture of the different objects. So the first object that I have is a rock. Do you think it's going to sink or float? I think it's going to sink. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, it sunk! I was right! So then on my chart, I'm just going to put a check by sink, because it sunk. And I'm going to put my rock in the sink bowl, because that one sunk. Now my next object is a penny. Do you think it's going to sink or float? Pretty light. I think it might float. Let's find out. Oh, it sunk. There it goes. Okay. It sunk. So we're going to put it in the sink check. Put a check mark next to sink. And I'm going to put it in my sink bowl. So the next one I have is a wooden bead. Do you think it's going to sink or float? I think it might float. I was right! Look at it floating on top. That's our first object that floated. So I'm going to put a check mark next to float. Now I'm going to take the bead and put it in the float bowl. Put it in the float bowl. Okay, so my next one is a car, a toy car. Do you think it's going to sink or float? I think it might float. Let's see. Oh, it sunk. Wow, it sunk really fast. Okay, so we're going to take out the car and I'm going to put him in the sunk bowl. And then we're going to mark sunk. Okay, my next object is a shell. What do you think? I think it might sink. Let's see. Oh, it did sink. Okay, we have another sink. And I'm going to put it in my sink bowl. Okay, my next object is a stick. Do you think it's going to sink or float? I think it might float. Let's find out. There it is, floating on top. It did float. Okay. I'm going to put it in my float bowl, and I'm going to put a check next to float. My last object is a crayon. Do you think it's going to sink or float? I think it might float. Let's find out. Oh, it sunk. It sunk all the way down. So I'm going to put a check next to sunk. And then I'm going to put it in my sunk bowl. So it looks like only 2 of my objects floated. I have 1, 2 that floated, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that sunk. What about you? What objects can you find in your house? I wonder if they will sink or if they'll float. Let us know if you find out. I hope you enjoyed our science experiment.